Chapter 20. Job's Prophecy on the Wicked Man, the Antichrist. August 7th, 1943. Jesus says, "It says in the book, He, the wicked man, shall be brought to the graves, and shall watch in the heap of the dead. He has been acceptable to the gravel of Cocytus, and he shall draw every man after him, and there are innumerable before him. All of mankind is sinful. Only one creature did not taste. I do not say the bitter taste, but I also say the bitter stink of sin. It was Mary, my most beloved mother, the one who did not make me regret the paradise I left behind to become flesh in your midst and redeem your flesh. Because in Mary I continually found the eternal purities and bright loves that are in heaven. In her was the Father who caressed her as the perfect one among creatures. In her was the Holy Spirit, who with his fire penetrated her to turn the Virgin into the Mother. Around her were the hosts of angels worshipping the Trinity in a creature. Mary's womb, Mary's heart. No, the mind most enraptured in God cannot descend to the depth or rise to the vertex of these two perfections of purity and love. I illuminate them for some of you. I illuminate them for the dearest of my dear ones. But only when you are where perfect knowledge is found will you understand Mary. All of mankind is sinful, but there is the sinner who is just a sinner, and there is the wicked man, in other words, the one who takes sin to a demoniacal perfection. For the devil knows how to reach the perfection in evil, and his most devoted disciples are no less than their master. I have already told you, Lucifer strives to imitate God, in evil of course. He takes on, I will say, the lifestyle and form of the court that the Son of God had. The devil poses as Christ, and like Christ has apostles and disciples. Among these he will choose the perfect one to turn him into the Antichrist. For now we are in the preparatory period of the forerunners of the Antichrist. I already told you that. The wicked man shall be brought to the graves. It is natural. Lucifer can give his favorites, his followers, his slaves, all forms of help, but not immunity from death, because I alone am life, and I alone have conquered death. Therefore, when the sum total of evil committed by the wicked man is complete, I give orders to death to take possession of that flesh. That flesh therefore knows the horror of the grave. For the wicked man, it will be a real grave. For the good, for the redeemed, for the forgiven, it is not so, because they believe and know on the basis of faith. The grave is a place where the mortal garment turns back to its nature of dust. Thus the spirit is set free, awaiting the hour when what was created will be formed again, to enter into glory or damnation, with the perfection of creation which God created for human beings. The union of a spirit to a flesh, immortal spirit like God, its creator and father, and mortal flesh made like an earthly animal. The sovereign of the earth, and heir of heaven, too often prefers earth to heaven, and is an animal, not on account of being animated, but on account of living like a brute, no less than real animals, and sometimes more so. Souls, divided from bodies, have three dwellings. They will have them until there remain but two, after the judgment that makes no mistakes. The blessed rejoice immediately in the eternal rest. The souls in purgatory actively carry out their expiation, thinking about the hour of freedom in God. The damned are restless, raging over the good they lost. The more wicked they were, the more restless they are in their terrible torture. Now as for the wicked man, who with his godlessness swayed others to godlessness, and drove others to sin, these are the men and innumerable people spoken of by the book. He will be like a sleepless tower in a stormy sea. Before him, the crowd of those killed in their souls by him. Before him, the vivid memory of those many soul murders committed by him, and remorse, which has given no peace to killers since the day Cain shed his brother's blood, will lash him far more dreadfully than hell's scourges. He will watch over his crime. He who hurled himself against God and God's creatures, and like a furious wild beast, wrought havoc in souls. How awful to have before oneself the proof of one's misdeed, punishment upon the other punishments. Horror beyond numbers, fitting the wicked man's countless sins among sinners. Now, Maria, To comfort your heart which is becoming depressed before it extracts from another world where God's love does not rule but his sternness does, lift up your spirit as you listen to these words just for you and the souls like you. Do you know what the hearts given to love mean to me? They are my paradise on earth. You are the ones who bring a little piece of heaven onto this poor world. And on that little piece the Son of God sets foot to come find his delight among the Father's children. Open your heart to Jesus. Give me your heart. Give it to me completely. I want it, as physician and friend of spirit and of flesh, as spouse and God, who has chosen you for your faith and your bold sentiment of love.